This is the Water Quality Association podcast, promoting the betterment of water quality around the world. And hello, I'm your host, Wes Bleed.
With 16 contaminants, obviously, that's a lot to look at. So we really just wanted to share the maximum contaminant level goal with everyone. So that's what you would see on the common contaminant side, as well as the PFAS side.
That's Callie Matheny for the Water Quality Research Foundation, talking about the new update to the Contaminant Occurrence Map at WQRF.org. And welcome to the weekly podcast of the Water Quality Association, the leading voice of the residential, commercial, and industrial water treatment community. Find us at WQA.org. If you're a first-time listener or viewer, welcome. We're glad you're here. Be sure to subscribe to the podcast so you never miss a show. That's the magic of podcasting. And be sure to share the podcast with someone on your team. We also feature our podcasts on YouTube. Go to youtube.com/@WaterQualityAssociation videos. In this episode, we take a look at the latest version of the WQRF Contaminant Occurrence Map, which tracks literally millions of data points across the United States. And our guest is Callie Matheny from WQRF, who explains the latest changes and new features, the goals behind the update, and ideas for how you can best utilize the map with clients and customers. So it's all coming up on this podcast from the Water Quality Association. And we welcome Callie Matheny to the program. Callie, great to see you as always, and welcome to the show.
Hey, Wes, good to see you. Good to catch up.
Foundation Operations Director at WQRF, the Water Quality Research Foundation. And when I was back in radio, we used to talk about people who were very, very busy as being the busiest person in show business. And I feel like that applies to you. You've always got something. If you're coming off of a webinar and joining a podcast and cranking out some kind of a seminar, I mean, you're going a million miles a minute. So thank you for taking some time to talk to us about the WQRF Contaminant Occurrence Map. And if you're listening or watching and have not ever seen the map, well, we'll introduce you to it. If you have seen the map, we'll talk about the changes and some of the new features that are available to you over at WQRF.org. And let me just start with a little background on the map. Callie, bring us up to speed.
Yeah, absolutely. So when you go to WQRF.org, you can easily find in multiple places the link to the map, and that's what we're looking at right now. So WQRF.org, and this is /map20. And the first three screens you'll see is basically the story of the data that is actually what makes up the map. So if you're interested, I definitely encourage you the first time. If you're a first-time visitor, please definitely take the time to read through all three of these screens. But again, just highlighting that we have 131 million points of data on 183 different contaminants, which obviously is not what you're going to see in the map. We do have all 50 states represented. And then we talk a little bit about finished water, the difference between finished water and perhaps raw water. The reason why we point this out is because our database contains both raw water and finished water. Finished water is what you're going to experience when you turn on your tap. So it's actually been through a water filtration process and it's ready to drink versus raw water, which definitely needs treatment. So anything that's in our database, especially what's in the map, is considered finished water and ready for you to use. And then obviously we talk a little bit about common contaminants. Inside the WQRF map, you'll be able to see contaminant occurrence information on 16 different common contaminants throughout the United States. Obviously, contaminants will vary state to state on what might be the top contaminant for that particular state, but we've picked the top 16 that made the most sense to visualize kind of across the board for all 50 states. Important to note here that also built into the map, these are live links. So if you're interested in kind of skipping through the map story about the data, you can do so. And then finally, we also want to obviously talk a little bit more about the hot topic in water, which is PFAS. So we talk a little bit about PFAS contamination. Also important to note that we did actually work with USGS. They were gracious enough to share their PFAS reconnaissance data. So you'll be able to actually look at some of their data collection efforts as well inside the WQRF map. So it's fairly comprehensive in what we can share as far as PFAS contamination throughout the United States. So special thanks to the USGS for sharing that information. And again, a live link directly into the map application if you're interested in going there. And then also just to kind of note, all 4 of these links up here will take you to each individual page as well. So again, if you're a second-time user or you've been to the map before, you can actually just click on the contaminant mapping tool. It will take you directly to the application. A couple of things to also note, once you're in the map itself, you can utilize this little button here right in the top right corner, and that will make it full screen, which will make it somewhat easier for you to navigate. And then again, it does default to this show common contaminants. That's what you'll typically see if you just go into the map and plug in some information. You do have to actually select show PFAS contamination if you're interested in seeing that. So now that we're here in the map application, obviously you can kind of choose the way you want to see the data. So if you want to select a zip code, you certainly can. Otherwise, I always find, if you're a first-time user, I always find it's interesting and kind of fun to actually select a state. So I've selected Illinois, and as you can see, it's populated on this line, but you do then need to actually click on Illinois to tell the map that that's the state you want to look at. So if you've got this lovely little boundary box around the state you've chosen, that means that the map actually knows what state you've picked. So here we are in Illinois. I'm going to search for a county. So I'm going to put in my own, which is Kane County. I'm going to select that. And then you'll actually see, I'm going to select it again. As you can see, I've selected that box, and then it renders the county as well. So I'm going to scroll down a little bit here because I know what I'm looking for. I'm going to select the water system that services me. And you can either interact directly with the map. So the data points, each of those circles represent municipal water. So you can select that, or you can certainly select your water system from the left-hand side. Then
now, is this, Callie, I'm sorry to interrupt, but is the water system element now, that's new, right? Or was that in the previous map?
Well, the previous map did actually share municipal water data, but it wasn't visualized in this way. So each dot on this particular map application does share water system data. And you'll see this little legend in the left-hand corner. It does actually specify what kind of municipal water system it is. So if you were interested in that. So for example, mine is obviously a regular municipal water supply. Certainly this orange dot down here actually represents a mobile home park. So a different kind of water supply. So as we scroll down here, I've selected my water system. You can see it services 200,000 people. And I'm just going to scroll down to the bottom of the map. And that's where all 16 contaminants kind of live. And you can kind of see all those different, we call them cards, will share whatever the water system has reported and the collection date as well. So as you can see here, lots of interesting information. You can sample it out for your own municipal water supply. But let's just say for a point of conversation, I'm interested now in seeing any PFAS data. So I'm going to scroll back up to the top of the map here. I'm going to click Show PFAS Data. Again, it's the same water system because I already have that selected. It'll take a second to populate all of that information because, again, this is a very large set of data that we're working off of. But as you can see, as of right now, we don't have any PFAS collection data for my particular water system or my municipal water district. But not to say that there isn't that in the map. You can check it out for yourself. Again, if you're interested in looking at it from a zip code perspective, or again, kind of doing the longer version, selecting a state and kind of doing the deep dive that way. One other thing I do want to, go ahead, Wes.
All right. So one question comes to mind. You've got the PFAS data there, and it says no contaminant data found or whatever. Does that mean that they haven't found any and they've tested for it, or that they haven't tested for it?
It just means that there's nothing reported yet.
Okay.
So there's nothing actually reported in PFAS collection.
So let's put ourselves into the mind of the local water treatment dealer who is trying to use the map for purposes of understanding what's in their own community and what kinds of problems and so forth that customers might be bringing to them. You may or may not know for sure if there's an issue with a particular contaminant if it hasn't been reported.
Correct.
Okay.
That is correct.
But by and large, you're going to get whatever that local water system has been reporting, which would be similar to the confidence report that comes out every year?
Yes, that is correct.
Okay.
Now, we will be updating, there is a data collection effort out that each water system does need to report for throughout 2024 and also into 25. So as the data becomes available to us, we will be updating our data sets with that data, and that will contain PFAS testing information. So as it becomes available to us, we will be adding it into the map.
And I just mentioned the idea of a local water treatment dealer, WQA member, WQRF member, trying to figure out the best way to utilize this kind of information. How would you suggest that our members take a look at this?
Sure. It's not intended to be 100% comprehensive. There are lots of tools that water treatment dealers use all the time to determine, what's best to treat a client's water or a customer's water. But this is certainly intended to be very high level. So perhaps if you're going into an area that you haven't necessarily done a lot of water treatment projects in, this might be a good source of information for you. You can go in there, again, you can do it by zip code, but you can certainly look at counties. If you're interested in, just as an example in Illinois, if you're looking to, Adams County, you may not know what's in Adams County. You've only done one other installation project in that area before. So it might be nice to have a better idea or a high-level overview of what you might encounter in treating water in that area. So again, I think if nothing else, it's really interesting information to just educate yourself on what's happening in water throughout the United States.
And the dots on the screen that we're looking at are systems, or
Yes.
are they contaminants?
Nope, they're all water systems. That is correct.
Okay.
All municipal water systems.
And is there another depiction from the map that would show dots as contaminants?
No.
Okay.
Everything as far as contaminants go, like I mentioned before, you would scroll down to that bottom portion of the map, and I'll get there in a second. We actually share the contaminant information in what we're calling those cards. So hang on one second, and I can share that with you. But the idea behind it is that we're trying to give you a lot of information in one place, the easiest way possible. So with 16 contaminants, obviously, that's a lot to look at. So we really just wanted to share the maximum contaminant level goal with everyone. So that's what you would see on the common contaminant side, as well as the PFAS side. Now, obviously, if you mouse over these little cards, the card on what you're initially seeing, so the white card is intended to share any measurement of contaminant occurrence, where if you mouse over it, it'll give you a little bit of information about the contaminant itself. So that's really the only difference.
And again, these are all new features.
Yes, that is
in
correct.
the map. Yep.
Yeah.
It looks fantastic. It really does. It's that they have done a great job with this. And tell us again, how was this all put together? Who helped WQRF do this?
So actually, prior to my even joining WQRF, we did actually have a Tiger team assembled. So a lot of stakeholders, WQRF stakeholders, who were very helpful in kind of sharing their thoughts, opinions, but also technical information on what they thought might be helpful in developing a new map application based on, utilizing that first version that we just talked about. So that entire team was very informative and helpful and kind of gave us a wish list to work off of for this particular version. So the intention behind this one, again, was to make this perhaps a little bit more user-friendly, but also to make it a little bit more consumer-friendly. So we really want everyone to be able to know, what could potentially be in their water nearest to their location. So that was really kind of the driving force. That was the question we kind of kept asking ourselves as we were building out this platform. Does this make sense? Will people actually utilize it in this way? And are we helping to share the information that is closest to them in water? And based on the information we have in our database, I think we were successful in doing that. So yeah, we're pretty happy with it, and we definitely would encourage people to visit WQRF.org to get into the map, check it out, and certainly share any feedback with us that you see fit.
Yeah, and let your customers, clients know about it. You know, as Callie said, this is an opportunity to just let people know that this is an available tool, and you know, it can do really a lot of good just in terms of educating people and making them more aware of the kinds of needs that there might be in their communities.
Absolutely. And, you know, there's our website as well. Obviously, I'm going to go back to it again, WQRF.org/education. There's a ton of information on there as well, specific to individual contaminants. So if you are interested, and, you know, again, for the consumer, if you're interested and you see something that shows up in the common contaminants that you're maybe a little bit concerned about, or just want to know more information about, our website is a great resource to kind of find out additional info.
And then, and not that this isn't good, don't get me wrong, but is there a plan for yet another version or iteration of this at some point down the road?
Yeah, well, always. We're always looking to improve, share additionally, you know, more information about our research projects. So yes, basically that first walkthrough that you go through when you go to the map site, where I mentioned that you have the first 3 screens are kind of the story of the data. We actually are interested in turning some of our research projects into story maps as well. So there is a plan kind of in the works to share some of those research projects in that way. It just makes for a more interactive storytelling experience. And, you know, we want to tell the story of water, and we certainly want to tell the story of the research that we're doing, which honestly has been made possible by so many great contributors to WQRF. So, you know, it's kind of a testament to them and their willingness to, you know, help to fund the work that we do. So we want to keep building on this and keep telling stories about water.
Excellent, Callie. Thanks so much for doing this, walking us through the new map, giving us better details, helping us understand and visualize what there is there to see. So thank you.
Yep. Thanks, Wes.
Callie Matheny, Foundation Operations Director for the Water Quality Research Foundation. Great to have you.
Thank you.
Before we close, a quick reminder about the WQA PFAS portal, where we provide resources about PFAS that dealers can use right now, including a video entitled 5 Things to Know About PFAS. And we also have a helpful guide on how to talk to homeowners and renters about PFAS. You'll find it on our website, WQA.org. Thanks for joining us for the Water Quality Association podcast, bringing you the latest news and insights from the association, our members, and outside experts to help you better serve your customers and grow your business. Learn more about water and water treatment at our consumer website, betterwatertoday.org, and learn more about professional certification, product certification, and how you can become a WQA member at WQA.org. Until next time, this is Wes Bleed. So long from the Water Quality Association.